Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into today's video. So first off, as you can hear, I am talking in today's video. I know I haven't done one of these videos in a very long time and I've really been missing it. So I really do hope that I can get back to this because I feel like it's a little bit more personable. And the reason I haven't really done one of these in so long is because I feel like when I sit down to film sometimes, it's typically like late at night and one, I don't have the energy to like be talking and be like, energetic or whatever. And two, I feel like this is a very therapeutic type of thing for me. And sometimes talking is just too much, like I can't handle it. So normally when I'm editing during the day, I have more energy to actually talk to you guys, but it is currently 5 p.m. as I am filming this. So I'm still kind of energized. So yeah, if you were wondering why I haven't really been talking during my videos, that is like low-key kind of like why or whatever. Now, before we get into today's nail set, there is a very minor thing I wanted to mention. So in one of my past videos, someone actually commented asking what happened to my Instagram account. And for anyone wondering, nothing has happened to my account per se. However, I have been taking a break from posting for probably the past couple of months. And the reason for that is because I just don't really feel super comfortable posting on Instagram, especially since the only content I really post on there is nail content. And with everything going on, I feel like just carrying on posting nail content without giving any type of insight on what's happening was just not really something I wanted to do. And I feel like the difference between Instagram and YouTube is that on YouTube, I can actually talk about what I want to talk about in a longer format without having to say what I want to say in captions or do a reel, because as you guys know, I don't do reels because one, they're just very hard. So yeah, but yeah, that's really like why I don't post on Instagram as much anymore or at all anymore. But I do want to get back to it because I do really want to start new things and grow as a content creator. And hopefully with that being said, I can expand and do more than just create nail content on YouTube. So yeah, I kind of want to get back to Instagram at some point, but for now I'm kind of just sticking to YouTube. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get straight into today's nail set. So for today, I don't exactly know what I want to do. I have two nail sets in mind, but I don't really know which one I want to do yet. I guess we'll see what I'm willing to do. I don't know. So I'm gonna start out with some nail prep. As you can see, my nails aren't too shabby. I mean, they look kind of bad, but they've been worse. So as always, the first thing I'm gonna do is push back my cuticles using my cuticle pusher. I don't know why, but I feel like my cuticles grow so fast. I literally just did my nails maybe almost 4 days ago, and I feel like they're already starting to look really crusty. Maybe that's because I don't really oil my cuticles as much as I should, to be honest. But I don't know. Let me know if you guys are the same. I feel like my cuticle prepping or whatever just doesn't last a long time. So let me know if you're experiencing the same thing. So after I do that, I'm going to use this opposite end to scrape up any excess product from my last nail set. And I don't have a lot, so I just make sure to be as gentle as possible during this step. And now I'm going to take this cuticle bit here to further lift up that dead skin. I usually don't use this one, so I wanted to use it today because I don't really know, to be honest. But we're going to try and use this one today. I'm thinking it'll be better for my nail beds because it doesn't really like dig too much into my cuticle area. So we'll see if it makes any difference. And as always, I do like to make sure that this is nice and parallel to my nail plate, just so that I can actually prevent dents and rings of fire in my nail bed, because once you start to damage the matrix area, it may not actually grow out healthy again. I think that's what happened to my thumbnail, which is why, as you can see, it's like not really like round, it's like kind of flat here. And that's because when I first started doing my nails, I really focused too much on my cuticle area. So now it just kind of grows out weird and there's nothing I can really do about it. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. All right, and now I'm going to use some cuticle nippers just to cut back the excess cuticle. And for this part, I really don't have too much to do, so I'm not going too far. I'm really just cutting off the sort of crusty, like dry parts of my cuticle area, because if I do cut too far, I will start to cut into my skin, and that just leads to redness, inflammation, and we really do not want that. Now, what I will say is that when I do use new nippers, I feel like I have to be extra careful because it's very easy to like cut too much and I start bleeding and stuff. So with sharper nippers, definitely do be very, very careful. Okay, so my nails are nice and prepped. I did kind of like nick myself here and here a little bit, but for the most part, I didn't do too shabby. So the next thing I'm gonna do is put on my peel off base coat. And for that, I use my Macart peel off base coat and a little bit of cuticle oil. And if you're wondering why I'm using a cuticle oil with my peel off base coat, that's because I find that this is actually kind of difficult to get off without the cuticle oil. And that's probably because this is meant for people who want to wear it for maybe upwards of like a week to 2 weeks. But for me personally, I only wear these nails for the video, so I don't need these to stay on for that long. The cuticle oil just makes it so I can pop these off directly afterwards. So I'm first going to start off by putting just a little bit of cuticle oil onto the middle of my nails. And I really only add a little bit, so only about that much. And I just make sure to rub this in as best as I can. And every single time I do this, my glove ends up ripping. So that's fun. So yeah, now the top of my glove is just gone. Now I'm gonna go in with 2 layers of my peel off base coat. And the reason I use 2 layers is because today I am working with acrylic, so I wanna make sure that there is no nail exposed, because if that happens, then the acrylic can seep through and it'll be even more difficult to take these off. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cure this for a full 60 seconds. Okay, so my peel off base coat is 100% on, and I already went ahead and sized out all of my nail tips for today. Now for today, I'm thinking I'm actually going to go square, but the nail set that I'm inspired by is almond, but I'm pretty sure my next nail set is going to be almond too. So I'm just going to do these square to kind of mix it up. So to glue on these nail tips, I'm going to use some base coat as always. So I kind of think I want to do these almond like I plan to. I just feel like the nail set will look better with almond nails. So my apologies if you're sick of them already. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut these down using my tip cutters. And I do want these to be pretty long, not really long, but like kind of long for almond nails. So I think too about here is pretty good. And now I'm going to cut them into the almond shape using some straight edge nail clippers. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, and now I'm going to take this nail file and just file it into that nice smooth almond shape. Okay, all of the nail prep is done, and this is what the nails are looking like so far. So now we're in a good enough space to go ahead and move on to the application. Okay, so my application is done and this is what it is looking like. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start shaping up these nails. As you can see, I have my dust collector ready to go. And typically when it comes to almond nails, I like to stick with a carbide bit for the majority of the shaping portion. And then once I'm done smoothing out the surface, I do just kind of fix the shape in the end. As always, feel free to use whatever you want. I am using a carbide bit for today, but you could go with a sanding band. You could also go with a nail file. Use whatever works best for you. So the shaping is done and this is what the nails are looking like so far. So before we move on, I'm just gonna clean off my nails using some isopropyl alcohol just to get rid of any excess dust. Okay, so now we are ready to go ahead and get into today's nail art. Now this nail set is inspired by my pretty set on Instagram and here are the reference photos. This nail set is very intimidating. I'm very nervous, but I think I can do it. Hopefully today luck is on my side and it looks nice, or at least somewhat nice. I don't know. But before we do anything, let me try and show you everything that I got for this nail set. Okay, so this is everything I'm going to be using for today's nail set. So first off, I have this Model 1's color cube and I'm really just going to be using, oh my gosh, don't mind how messy it is. I did not think it looked this bad. Anyway, I'm really just going to be using it for the yellow and maybe this red. I also have a light pink, a hot pink, and some purple. I have this nice forest kind of teal green, some top coat, some rhinestone glue, and lastly I have some white pearls and some flowers. In the reference photo they did use white and green flowers. I don't have either one of those colors, but I do have an orange and a purple, so, and also blue, so maybe we can make those work. Okay, so that's everything for today's nail set. Let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put all of these colors onto my mixing plate. Now for the majority of these colors, they're actually going to be used to mix a new color. So this purple, I'm only going to use a tiny bit of it because there's not really much purple in this nail set at all. Okay, so I'm thinking I will get the easiest nails out of the way first. So we're just going to start on my pointer finger. This one is a sheer pink nail with the rhinestone 3D effect on it. So what I think I'm going to do is actually mix a little bit of base coat into this pink as well, just to make it a little bit more sheer. And I'm only mixing clear into a little part of this because I still want most of it to be opaque. Okay, so now I'm going to take this little brush and I'm just going to paint this pink onto my pointer finger. Okay, and here's what it looks like. I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect it to look almost exactly like the reference photo, so shout out to me or whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe down the sides a little bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cure this for a full 30 seconds. All right, and now I'm gonna put some of this rhinestone glue onto my mixing plate. There's always so much air in here, like it's ridiculous. I don't know, I kind of feel like I might have like ruined the top of my rhinestone glue when I was trying to twist it closed. So now it's just really difficult to come out and it's kind of annoying me. So I'm just going to use another one. Okay, now I'm going to use this little tiny line art brush to create the seashell effect. And I've done this a couple of times on the channel before. And I do think that in the past few videos, I have gotten a lot better at it. So hopefully today is no different and it'll actually look nice. So I'm first just going to pick up a big bead of this rhinestone glue, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it onto the nail, let it bead up a little bit, and then I drag it into the center just like that. And I just keep doing this until it is on the entire nail and until I'm satisfied. Now this does take patience, so please make sure to take your time and to not move too fast. And also do make sure not to apply these too close to each other. Otherwise they will start to blend together and it'll pretty much ruin the entire effect. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cure this for a full 30 seconds. Okay, and here is what it is looking like. Now, because I want this to be a little bit more 3D, I'm gonna go in with a second layer. I'm just gonna repeat the same steps that I did in the first layer. Okay, so this nail is pretty much done. I don't want to put top coat on it yet. I think I'm just going to move on to my middle finger. Now this nail is actually pretty simple. We're just going to be creating a flower using some blooming gel. We're just going to paint a very thin layer of blooming gel onto our middle finger. And now I'm taking the short liner brush and I'm going to dip into this green gel polish and we're going to hope for the best. So I'm going to start here and just bring it inwards. I'm not going to make these petals too close together because I feel like they're going to end up blooming pretty wide. So I want to give them enough space to actually spread. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. However, I don't really like the color of the green. I think I want to mix a little bit of yellow into this because for whatever reason, I don't have a regular green. So, okay, yeah, this just looks a lot better. All right, let's try that one more time. I'm just going to paint a very thin layer of blooming gel onto my middle finger. And now I'm going to take this green one more time and I'm going to paint on these petals. And I think this time I'm going to make the petals a little bit bigger and we'll see what happens. Okay, I think I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and cure this. So I actually did show you guys that I was gonna be using some pearls, but I actually don't think I want to. I'm actually just gonna stick with what they did in the reference photo and don't mind my middle finger. I'm just gonna stick with what they did in the reference photo and do the yellow dots in the middle of this flower. So I'm just gonna open up this really ugly color palette and I'm gonna take a dotting tool and I'm just gonna dot on these yellow dots. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and flash cure this with my flashlight. So these two nails are pretty much done. I think I wanna actually go over this nail with a layer of top coat, simply because I feel like if I accidentally get something on top of this and I have to wipe it off, it's gonna end up wiping off some of the blooming gel effect, and I don't want that to happen. So yeah, I'm just gonna top coat this really quickly just to go ahead and protect the design. And I guess while I'm here, I'll also top coat my pointer finger as well. Now for the rhinestone glue nail, I definitely do recommend making this layer of top coat as thin as possible if you want to maintain that 3D effect. And whatever direction you put the rhinestone glue in, I definitely recommend following that just to make sure that you're getting in between every single nook and cranny. And before I cure, I'm just going to wipe down the sides. And of course, I'm curing these for a full 60 seconds. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna do the easiest nails first. So for now, I'm gonna skip this finger until I gain the confidence I need to do this one. Anyway, we're gonna move on to our pinky nail. And for that, we're gonna be creating the airbrush effect. Now in my last video, which was an ASMR video, and if you haven't seen that, I will put it in the cards above. But in that video, I did test out the airbrush effect using blooming gel, and I really do like that. So I think I'm gonna try it again. One thing I will say is that it is definitely a lot faster than the fan brush, I guess, method, if that makes sense. I don't want to call it a method because I've never seen anyone else do it before, but yeah, it's definitely faster than using a fan brush. However, I will say it doesn't spread as much as I would like it to. So you kind of have to spend more time spreading it out using like another brush. So I think the time that it cuts isn't really that much of a difference, if that makes sense, because I still have to make sure that everything is nice and blended with this method. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with this pink right here, and I'm just going to put that in the center and slowly start to make this circle a bit bigger. I'm actually switching the pinky and the thumbnail because I didn't want this nail to be clear, because unfortunately this nail is slightly yellow, so I want to make sure that it's covered up as much as possible. Okay, so I think I have enough color on there. Now I think I'm just going to wait a little bit, maybe like 30-40 seconds, and see what happens. If it doesn't blend on its own, I'm just going to use a little brush to kind of blend out the edges a little bit. Okay, so I think I gave it enough time. It's not super blended, but that's okay because we're going to go in with a little brush just to kind of blend the edges and make it more blended out, if that makes sense. Now, as you can see, I don't have any type of color on this line art brush. That's because I already have enough color on my nail. And also, I feel like if you add more color, it starts to swirl and it just doesn't really look that great. So definitely do be mindful of that. If anything, the tiniest amount of gel polish is enough to help blend the edges, but I won't go too crazy adding too much color. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and cure this for a full 30 seconds. And similarly to my other nails, I'm just going to go over this with a layer of top coat. And again, I'm curing for 60 seconds. Okay, now let's jump to our thumbnail. So similarly to the pointer finger, I'm actually going to paint a sheer color onto this nail. Okay, so I think in the reference photo, the thumbnail or my thumbnail is actually going to be darker than this nail. So I think I'm just going to mix a little bit more purple into this pink color, just the tiniest bit. So I'm just going to paint a thin layer of this onto my pointer finger. All right, now let's get into these flowers. So I think I'm gonna use maybe this blue one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use this blue one. Well, on second thought, maybe let's not use that color. I really do like these ones in here. Okay, I think I'll use this color and maybe we'll use this orangey peach color. I don't really have many options, so I kind of have to like figure it out. Or maybe I could use these ones. I feel like it might work better because my thumbnail is bigger, so I could probably actually pull this off. That could actually be really pretty. Okay, maybe I'll try that. So I'm gonna start out by putting a little bit of rhinestone glue onto the area I'm gonna put the flower on, and I'm gonna like try and carefully press these down. Emphasis on careful because these little pieces break off really easily. Yeah, as you can see, it like literally broke, but I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't think I like it. Okay, we're gonna start over. Okay, so maybe I'm just gonna go in with this flower in here because I don't really know what else to do. One of the petals literally just broke off. That's great. Okay, that's not terrible. And I think it kind of goes with the rest of the nail set. So I'm gonna cure this on, and if I don't like it, then oh well, I don't know. All right, and now we're gonna create the domes on top of this. So I'm just going in with some more rhinestone glue, and I'm just gonna cover the entire flower. Okay, so this is what the domes look like. They're not terrible, but I do think it needs a layer of top coat, especially on the bottom, because I think that's what's messing me up. So let's do that right now. And again, I'm making sure that this layer is nice and thin to maintain the 3D effect of the rhinestone glue. All right, so I added top coat to my thumb, and I also put some underneath my thumb as well as my pointer finger. So now we are finally going to move on to my ring finger because I have no choice, but I think I can do it. Okay, so I got this solid nail gel from Macart, and I do believe that this is the product that people use to make the 3D flowers on their nails. So hopefully this works a lot better than when I use the rhinestone glue. So this is what it looks like. Let's open this up. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna use this little tool to take out little pieces for these petals. And I'm really nervous because this doesn't seem as hard as I thought it would be, but maybe it's not supposed to be that hard. Okay, so I'm just gonna try and shape it into a petal shape. And one thing I do like about the reference photo is that you can actually see the imprints of her fingerprints. And I think that adds a lot of nice texture. So I will try and sculpt these using my fingers as much as I can. So I'm just gonna press this down and give these petals a little bit of movement. So I don't want them going like straight up. I want them to kind of curve a little bit, and I do want parts of these to kind of be sticking up. Okay, so this is the first petal. I'm going to quickly cure this. Okay, and now I'm going to do the rest for the other 4 petals. And I'm trying to make sure that all of the pieces I use are pretty much the same size, at least for the most part. And again, I'm using my fingers to kind of give it that texture. And I am kind of overlapping the petals a little bit just so that it looks more like petals. And I am kind of leaving some sections that are sticking up. Okay, so here are the petals, nice and done. As you can see, it doesn't really look like much because they're clear. So what I'm gonna do is actually paint the sheer pink on top of these flower petals. And I'm just gonna use this little line art brush for that. And hopefully I can actually give these petals a little bit of dimension. So this isn't necessarily what I was going for, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it that bad. It's not too bad, at least for the first layer. So what I'm gonna do is flash cure this, and maybe I'll come back and do a second layer. We will see. Okay, let's try and do a second layer and see if that helps. Yeah, I don't really think a second layer is gonna help. So now I'm gonna start creating the dimension using this pink here. And I'm just going to keep this color towards the middle of these petals. Okay, so I ended up adding a little bit of purple to this. I mixed it with this pink here, and I think it added a nice bit of dimension. So I think this is probably going to be the last layer I do. I'm going to go ahead and cure this for a full 30 seconds. So now in the middle of this, there's a red and yellow piece and a little yellow stick looking thing. I don't know much about flowers, so I'm just going to create that red and yellow piece in the center. It's very similar to how the petals look, except it's red and yellow, as I said. So I'm just placing this in the middle, and I'm making sure to have it stick up so that you can differentiate the layers. Okay, it's pretty clear, but there is a petal on top of this, so let's go ahead and cure this. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is paint on the sheer yellow onto that little petal that I just put. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and cure this. And now I'm gonna go in with this red gel polish to kind of outline this piece. So kind of like this, and I'm gonna go ahead and cure this. All right, and now for the last tiny little piece, there is like a little stem in the middle. So I'm using a very thin sliver, and I'm just gonna roll it. And now I'm going to place this directly in the middle and stick it down. And lastly, that little sliver is gonna be painted yellow. So for this flower, there is a stem. So the last piece was not the last piece. This is the last piece, I promise. And again, I'm just rolling this into a sliver. And then I'm just gonna place this onto the bottom of the flower. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and cure this. And lastly, this stem is going to be painted green. Okay, so this nail is done and I really love it. I did not expect it to come out this nice. I'll be honest, sometimes I am a little bit like not sure of how nail sets are going to come out. So the last thing I'm going to do is go over this with a layer of top coat. Now I'm wiping down the sides and curing for a full 60 seconds. Okay, so the nail art is done and I just went ahead and put on some jewelry as always. And this is what the nails are looking like so far. I really love these 4 nails, especially this ring finger. I'm not really too sure about my thumb, but I don't want to change it because I feel like it kind of works, but I don't really know. The last thing I'm going to do to finish off this nail set is go in with some cuticle oil. And that completes today's set. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this one. This nail set definitely came out a lot better than I anticipated. And to be honest, I'm really actually proud of myself with this one. I will say though, I am not the hugest fan of my thumbnail, but the other four are definitely my faves, especially the ring finger. As you guys know, it took a really long time to actually sculpt these petals, but I'm so glad that I took my time and I had the patience to actually work through it, because in the end, it was definitely worth it. These nails are the epitome of spring and I'm so here for it. I have a couple more spring nail sets that I want to do for you guys. As for my next video, it would definitely be the Gyaru nails, and following that, it will be the mystical nails. Both of those nail sets were recommended from you guys, so I want to make sure to get those out. And yeah, we will move on from there. As always, I would love to hear what you guys think of this nail set in the comments. Definitely let me know if you guys will wear this nail set for the spring season. I've just been loving all of the nail sets with the 3D flowers, and I really do hope to do some more in the future, even after spring, like maybe for summer nails. So if you enjoy these types of designs, definitely do let me know as well. But as always, I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I will see you guys in the next one.